I say to the Leader of the Opposition, I will not be lectured about sexism and misogyny by this man. I will not by this man, by this man, by this man, by this man. And the government will not be lectured about sexism and misogyny by this man. Not now, not ever. By this man, by this man, by this man, by this man. The Leader of the Opposition says that people who hold sexist views and who are misogynists are not appropriate for high office. Well, I hope the Leader of the Opposition has got a piece of paper and he is writing out his resignation. Because if he wants to know what misogyny looks like in modern Australia, he doesn't need a motion in the House of Representatives, he needs a mirror. That's what he needs. I was very offended personally. I was very personally offended. I was also very offended on behalf of the women of Australia. I was offended too by the sexism, by the misogyny of the Leader of the Opposition. I was offended. I was offended. I was offended by those things. Misogyny, sexism. What the Leader of the Opposition should be ashamed of is his performance in this parliament and the sexism he brings with it. I am offended by their content. I'm offended by their content because I am always offended by sexism. I'm offended by their content because I'm always offended by statements that are anti-women. I'm offended by those things in the same way that I have been offended by things that the Leader of the Opposition has said, and no doubt will continue to say in the future, because if this today was an exhibition of his new feminine side, well, I don't think we've got much to look forward to in terms of change conduct. The Leader of the Opposition says do something. Well, he could do something himself if he wants to deal with sexism in this parliament. He could change his behaviour. He could apologise for all these past statements. He could apologise for standing next to signs describing me as a witch and a bitch, terminology that is now objected to by the front bench of the opposition. He could change a standard himself if he sought to do so. But we will see none of that from the Leader of the Opposition, because on these questions he is incapable of change. Posed by the Leader of the Opposition, now looking at his watch because apparently a woman's spoken too long. I've had him yell at me to shut up in the past, and the Leader of the Opposition should think seriously about the role of women in public life and in Australian society, because we are entitled to a better standard than this.
Tony Abbott is now more popular as leader among women voters than Julia Gillard. The surprise result is revealed in an exclusive 7 News Reach Tell poll just months after the Prime Minister labelled the opposition leader a misogynist.
It was the speech heard around the world.
I will not be lectured about sexism and misogyny by this man. I will not.
Seen as a rallying cry to women voters, and at first it seemed to work. A Nielsen poll a fortnight later showed a spike in support for Julia Gillard among women, 53% to Tony Abbott's 38%, and leading 48-42 among men. But the 7 News Reach Tell poll taken last weekend shows that trend has now reversed. Tony Abbott now leads among women voters 52-48 and is way ahead 62-38 among men.